I am so happy you are here. This channel is not only about learning English words, it is about learning how to use English in real life with confidence, with style, and with heart. Today, we are starting something very special. We are talking about how to speak smartly and impress anyone. This is not just about grammar or big vocabulary. This is about how you use your words to show who you are and to make people listen to you with respect. Let me begin with a simple story. A young man once went to a job interview. He was very smart and he had studied hard. But when the interviewer asked him questions, he answered too quickly. His words came out rushed and unclear. He used many filler sounds like and ah. His answers were long, but they did not have clear points. The interviewer did not see his true intelligence. Sadly, he did not get the job. Now imagine another person. She was not a top student, but she had learned one important skill. She thought before she spoke. In her interview, she took a small pause before answering. She spoke slowly, clearly, and with confidence. She used simple words, but her answers were sharp and easy to understand. The interviewer was impressed by her calmness and clarity. She got the job. Do you see the difference? The first person knew many things but could not express them well. The second person did not use big, difficult words, but she spoke in a smart way. This shows us that speaking smartly is not about knowing the most English words. It is about how you use your voice, your pauses, and your words to show respect and confidence. In today's world, this skill is so important. Whether you are in school giving a presentation at work, in a meeting, or even with friends at a cafe, the way you speak can change everything. People make quick judgments. If you speak with clarity and confidence, they listen. If you speak without thinking, they may ignore your ideas. Speaking smartly opens doors, builds trust, and creates new opportunities. And the best part, anyone can learn this skill. You do not need perfect grammar. You do not need advanced vocabulary. What you need is practice, patience, and the right mindset. In this video, I will guide you step by step. You will learn how to think before you speak, how to use simple words that shine, how to show confidence, how to ask smart questions, and many more tips. By the end, you will not only speak English better, but you will also feel stronger and more respected in your life. So stay with me until the end of this lesson. I promise it will be worth your time. And if you want to grow more with your English every day, make sure to subscribe to Read and Learn English. This is your home for learning motivation and personal growth. Together, we will take small steps that lead to big changes. Remember, this speaking smartly is not about showing off. It is not about big, difficult words. It is about clarity. It is about confidence. And most of all, it is about heart. If you speak with honesty and care, you will impress anyone. Now let us begin our journey into the first tip, learning how to think before you speak. Section 1. Think before you speak. Have you ever been in a situation where someone asked you a question and you felt the pressure to answer right away? Your heart beats fast, your mouth opens, and words fall out before your brain has time to think. Later, you regret what you said. Maybe your answer was too long, or maybe it did not make sense. This is something that happens to almost everyone. But here's the truth. When you rush, you lose power. When you pause, you gain respect. Thinking before you speak is the first step to sounding smart and confident. Let me tell you a story. In one classroom, a teacher asked a question about history. The first student raised his hand quickly. He wanted to be fast, so he answered without thinking. His words were messy. He mixed up dates, and he repeated the same sentence twice. The teacher smiled politely, but the class was not impressed. People started looking down at their desks waiting for the answer to end. Then the teacher asked the same question to another student. This student did not speak right away. She paused. She took 2 seconds to think, and then she gave her answer. She spoke slowly. She gave just the main points. Her answer was clear and easy to follow. Everyone in the class listened carefully. The teacher nodded with respect. The second student did not know more facts than the first, but she showed wisdom by waiting, thinking, and speaking calmly. This is the difference between rushing and pausing. The first student thought speed was power. He believed that answering fast would impress others, but it had the opposite effect. The second student showed that silence can be powerful. A short pause showed her confidence. She proved that her words were chosen carefully. When you pause before you speak, you give yourself time to organize your thoughts. You choose better words. You avoid filler sounds like or ah. You look calmer. People believe you are in control even if you feel nervous inside. A pause is not weakness, it is strength. Think about famous leaders and speakers. Do they rush? No. They speak slowly with power in every word. They are not afraid of silence. They use it. Silence makes people listen more closely. It creates space for meaning. You can do the same in your everyday English. Now, let us talk about how you can practice this skill. The first exercise is very simple. Count 1, 2 in your mind before you answer. If someone asks you a question, do not speak immediately. Just smile, breathe, and count 2 seconds silently. Then speak. At first, it may feel strange. You may think people are waiting for too long, but they are not. In fact, they will see you as thoughtful. The second exercise is about breathing. When you feel nervous, your breath becomes fast. Your words also become fast. Before you answer, take a slow, deep breath. This will calm your mind and slow your voice. Try it now. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. Feel how your body becomes more relaxed. When your body is calm, your words are stronger. Another way to practice is to prepare short pauses in your daily conversations. For example, if someone asks, "How was your weekend?" Instead of answering right away, take a short pause. Think about one clear memory and then speak. Say, "My weekend was nice. I went to the park with my friends." Simple, clear, and confident. Let's use contrast again to make this clear. Imagine 2 friends telling a story. The first friend talks too fast. He says, "My weekend was good. I went to the park, and then we had pizza, and it was fun." Yeah, he sounds nervous and unprepared. The second friend takes a pause. She says, "My weekend was good. I went to the park with my friends. We had pizza. It was fun." Which one sounds smarter? The second, of course. And the only difference was a short pause and clear thinking. You can also practice this skill in front of a mirror. Ask yourself a question. Pause and then answer slowly. Watch your face. Notice how calm you look when you do not rush. This will build your confidence. Remember, the goal is not to speak less. The goal is to speak better. When you pause, you do not lose time. You gain respect. People will see you as someone who thinks carefully, who has control, and who is worth listening to. At first, you may be afraid of silence. You may think people will judge you for pausing, but the truth is they will not. They will see you as smart. They will notice that your answers are stronger and clearer. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of power. So the next time someone asks you a question, do not rush. Take a breath. Count 1, 2, think of your main point. Then speak slowly and clearly. You will notice the difference right away. People will listen more closely. They will respect your words, and you will feel proud of yourself. Speaking smartly starts with this one habit. Think before you speak. It is a small step, but it changes everything. Once you master this, every other skill becomes easier. You will be ready to learn how to use simple words, how to show confidence, and how to impress anyone with your calm, clear English. Now let us move forward to the next important step. Learning how to use simple words that shine. Section 2, use simple words. Have you ever met someone who tries to sound smart by using big, complicated words? At first, it may seem impressive, but after a while you notice that you do not really understand what they are saying. Their message is lost in the middle of long words and heavy sentences. Speaking smartly is not about showing the biggest vocabulary. Speaking smartly is about making people understand you. And the best way to do this is to use simple, clear words. Let me tell you a story. There was a student named Mark who wanted to impress his teacher during a presentation. He read many books and collected difficult words. On the day of his speech, he stood in front of the class and began, "Today I shall commence the elucidation of my topic, which is the utilization of technology in contemporary pedagogy." The words were long, but the class was confused. Some students looked at each other with puzzled faces. Others stopped listening because they could not follow his sentences. Even though Mark worked hard, his message did not reach anyone. Now imagine another student in the same class. Her name was Sarah. She did not use complicated words. Instead, she said, "Today, I will start my talk about how we use technology in modern teaching." Her words were simple, but everyone understood. The class nodded. The teacher smiled, and her message was clear. She sounded smart not because of difficult vocabulary, but because she made people understand. This story shows us the truth. Simple words are powerful. Complicated words create distance. Simple words build connection. When you speak in English, your goal is not to confuse people. Your goal is to be clear, to be understood, and to make people remember your words. Let us look at some examples together. Many people think they sound smarter when they say commence, but commence simply means start. Which one is easier for everyone to understand? Start. Another example, utilize. People use this word to sound formal, but it means the same as use. Which word is faster, easier, and clearer? Use. Here are more examples. Terminate versus end. Ascertain versus find out. Demonstrate versus show. Purchase versus buy. Approximately versus about. The longer words are not wrong. But if your goal is to connect with people and impress them, the shorter words are better. They save time. They make your message clear. They help people remember what you said. Think about famous leaders, teachers, and speakers. Do they always use long, difficult words? No. They use short sentences. They use words that everyone understands. That is why their message travels around the world. People remember not because the words were complicated, but because they were clear. Now, let us practice together. I will give you some sentences with big words and we will change them into simple ones. 1, I will endeavor to ascertain the problem. I will try to find out the problem. 2, we must commence the project immediately. We must start the project now. 3, she purchased an expensive dress. She bought an expensive dress. 4, the teacher demonstrated the lesson. The teacher showed the lesson. 5, the company terminated the contract. The company ended the contract. See how much easier the simple sentences are. They are clear, friendly, and direct. Anyone from beginner to advanced can understand them. This is the secret of smart speaking. Sometimes English learners feel nervous. They think people will not respect them if they use easy words. But the opposite is true. People respect clarity. People respect speakers who make things simple. When you use short, strong words, you give your listeners a gift, the gift of understanding. Let me give you another example from real life. Imagine two friends at a cafe. The first friend says, "I must apologize for my tardiness. I encountered considerable congestion on the thoroughfare." His sentence is long and full of big words. The second friend says, "Sorry I'm late. The road was busy. Which one do you prefer?" The second, of course, it is natural. It is clear, and it still shows respect. Using simple words also helps you feel more confident. When you do not worry about long, difficult vocabulary, your mind is free to focus on your message. You can think more clearly, you can speak more calmly, and you can connect better with people. Here's a small exercise for you. Take one sentence from your daily life and check if it has a difficult word. Then change that word into a simple one. For example, if you want to say, "I will attempt to complete my assignment," change it to, "I will try to finish my homework." Both are correct, but the second is friendlier and stronger. Practice this every day. Slowly, your speaking will become natural and smart. Remember the story of Mark and Sarah. Mark used many fancy words, but he lost his audience. Sarah used simple, clear words, and she impressed everyone. This is the power of simplicity. It is not about showing that you know more. It is about showing that you care enough to make others understand. So the next time you want to speak smartly, do not search for the biggest word. Search for the clearest one. Do not try to sound complicated. Try to sound real. If your listener understands you and remembers your words, then you have already impressed them. Speaking smartly is not about size of vocabulary. It is about strength of connection. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power. Now that you understand the power of simple words, let us move to the next important skill: how to speak with confidence so that your words are not only clear, but also strong and inspiring. Section 3, Speak with Confidence. Do you know what makes people stop and listen? It is not always perfect grammar. It is not always a big vocabulary. The secret is confidence. When you speak with confidence, people pay attention. Your words carry more weight. Your message feels stronger. And the good news is this: confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you can learn step by step. Let me paint two pictures for you. Imagine the first person standing in front of a group. His shoulders are low. His eyes are looking at the ground. His voice is soft, almost like a whisper. He speaks fast because he wants to finish quickly. People in the room start looking at their phones. Some begin to talk quietly with each other. His message is lost not because he is wrong, but because he does not show confidence. Now imagine another person. She stands tall. Her shoulders are back. She looks at her audience with steady eyes. Her voice is clear and strong. She does not rush. She speaks slowly, as if every word matters. People lean forward. They nod their heads. They listen closely. She may make grammar mistakes. She may use simple words, but still she impresses everyone. Why? Because her confidence makes her powerful. This contrast shows us something important. Confidence is more visible than mistakes. People forget small grammar errors, but they never forget your energy and presence. When you believe in your words, others believe in them too. Let me share a story. There was a young man named David who dreamed of being a teacher, but he had one big problem. He was afraid to speak in front of people. In school, when teachers asked him to answer, his voice would shake. He looked down, and his classmates did not take him seriously. For a long time, he thought he could never be a teacher. One day, his mentor gave him advice. David, confidence is not about never feeling afraid. Confidence is about standing tall even when you are afraid. Practice looking strong, and slowly you will feel strong. David followed this advice. Every day he practiced in front of a mirror. He stood tall, lifted his head, and said short sentences with a strong voice. At first he felt strange. His heart still beat fast, but slowly something changed. People began to notice in class when he spoke with more energy. His friends listened. Later he gave a short presentation, and for the first time he felt the power of confidence. Step by step, David became the teacher he always wanted to be. This story shows that confidence is not magic. It is practice. It is action. Even if you feel nervous inside, you can act confident on the outside, and little by little, your feelings will follow your actions. So how can you practice confidence in your English speaking? Here are a few steps. First, stand tall. Your body sends a message before your words do. If your shoulders are low and your head is down, people see fear. If your shoulders are back and your head is up, people see strength. Practice this posture every day, even when you are alone. Second, speak slowly. Many English learners speak fast because they are afraid of making mistakes. But fast speech makes you harder to understand. Slow speech shows control. It gives you time to think. It gives your listeners time to follow. Try this exercise. Read one short paragraph out loud, but speak it as if every word is important. Feel the difference. Third, use your eyes. Looking at people shows that you are not afraid. You do not need to stare. Just look at one person for a few seconds, then another and another. Even in a small conversation, make eye contact. It tells the listener, I believe in what I am saying. Fourth, add energy to your voice. Do not speak in a flat, quiet tone. Change your tone. Emphasize important words. Let your voice rise and fall like music. Energy brings life to your words. Remember, nobody is perfect. Even native speakers make mistakes. But confidence makes those mistakes small. Confidence makes your message big. Think about it this way. Would you rather listen to someone with perfect grammar but no energy, or someone with simple English but strong confidence? Most people will choose the second. Why? Because confidence makes the message clear and alive. Here's another small exercise. When you practice speaking, imagine you are a leader. Imagine you are sharing something important that people must hear. Stand tall. Use your hands if you want. Look at an invisible audience and speak slowly. Pretend even if you do not feel it yet. With practice, pretending becomes real. Also remember this truth. Confidence does not mean never feeling nervous. Everyone feels nervous. Sometimes confidence means moving forward. Even when you are nervous, your hands may shake, your voice may tremble. But if you keep standing tall and speaking clearly, people will still see confidence. So the next time you speak English, do not think, will my grammar be perfect? Instead, think, will I show confidence? Smile, breathe, stand tall, speak slowly, look at your listener. These small actions will make a huge difference. Confidence is a light. When you carry it, people notice you. They listen to you. They remember you. And the best part is you already have this light inside you. You only need to practice turning it on. Now you know that confidence is more powerful than perfect grammar. In the next part, we will go one step further. We will learn how listening more can help you speak better, and how silence can sometimes be the smartest tool in any conversation. Section 4. Listen more, speak better. Have you ever met someone who talks without stopping? They fill the air with words, but after a while, people lose interest. Now think about someone else. This person stays quiet most of the time, but when they finally speak, everyone listens. Why? Because they listened first, understood the conversation, and then give a short but powerful answer. This is the secret. If you want to speak better, you must first listen more. Let me tell you a story. Peter loved to talk. At every meeting, he would take the first chance to speak. He spoke fast, telling long stories and sharing many ideas at once. At first, people listened politely, but soon they became bored. Some checked their phones, others whispered quietly to each other. Peter thought he was impressing people with his words, but actually he was pushing them away. Now consider Alex. Alex did not speak immediately. He listened carefully to others. He nodded, smiled, and repeated key words in his mind to show he understood. He did not interrupt. When it was his turn, he gave a short, clear answer that connected to what others had said. People respected him. They thought he was wise. Even though he spoke less than Peter, Alex's secret was listening first. His words were powerful because they came from understanding. Speaking too much does not make you smart. Listening makes you smart. When you listen, you learn what people really mean, what they want, and what they care about. Then when you speak, your words are stronger, clearer, and more relevant. For English learners, this is very important. Many feel pressure to speak quickly to show their skill, but speaking without listening often creates confusion. People may think you are not interested in them, but if you listen carefully, even a short answer will feel thoughtful and confident. Here are some simple ways to practice listening. First, show with your body that you are listening. Nodding your head, smiling, or making small sounds like uh-huh or I see tells the speaker that you are paying attention. When people feel heard, they respect you. Second, repeat a key word or phrase silently in your mind. If someone talks about traveling, think traveling. This keeps your attention focused and helps you prepare a thoughtful answer. Third, pause before answering. Take 1 or 2 seconds to think. This small silence makes your response stronger. People see you as thoughtful, not slow. Fourth, ask small questions to show interest. If someone shares a story about a trip, you might ask, "What did you like most?" or "How was the city?" Questions show curiosity and help keep the conversation flowing. Fifth, connect your answer to what they said. For example, if the conversation is about favorite hobbies, you could respond, "I also enjoy that hobby. Last week I tried it." And this keeps the dialogue smooth and meaningful. Imagine a person who responds without listening. They may change the topic suddenly or give an unrelated answer. It feels awkward, but when you listen first and respond carefully, the conversation becomes natural. Your listener feels understood and your words have impact. Listening also helps you learn new words, phrases, and ideas. Every conversation is a chance to grow your English. If you are always speaking, you may miss this opportunity. But if you listen, you not only improve your English, you also understand people better. Even the best leaders in history were often the best listeners. They were not the loudest in the room, but people trusted them because they felt heard. You can do the same even as an English learner. Here is a simple exercise. In your next conversation, make a rule. Listen for at least 3 sentences before responding. While listening, nod. Repeat 1 key word in your head and breathe. When it is your turn, give a short, clear answer. You will notice how much smoother the conversation feels and how people respond positively. Another exercise is called echo practice. When someone speaks, repeat their last 2 or 3 words silently to yourself. This keeps your focus on their message and prepares you to respond naturally. At first, listening more may feel strange. You may feel shy or quiet, but silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. The best speakers are often the best listeners. Next time you have a conversation, ask yourself, am I listening or just waiting to talk? If you are waiting, stop, take a breath. Listen again, then answer thoughtfully. By practicing this habit, you will speak better English and build stronger connections. People will respect and enjoy talking with you. Listening is the first half of communication. Speaking is the second. Master the first, and the second becomes easier. Always remember this rule. Listen more, speak better. In the next section, we will learn how to tell stories that connect with people because storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to share your message in English. Section 5. Ask smart questions. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem interesting in conversations? You might wonder what makes them stand out. Often, it is not that they talk the most or use the biggest words. The secret is that they ask smart questions. A good question can make people stop, think, and admire you. It shows that you are curious, that you are listening, and that you care about understanding more. Let me tell you a story. There was a student named Lily who attended a business class. The teacher was explaining a difficult topic, and many students were shy. They listened, but did not speak. At one point, Lily raised her hand and asked a question. Can you explain how this idea works in real life? The teacher paused, smiled, and answered her carefully. The other students turned to look. They admired Lily for asking a thoughtful question. Her question was simple, but it showed she was paying attention and wanted to learn more. Now imagine another student in the same class. He tried to ask a question too, but he did not think carefully. He asked, what is this thing? His question was unclear, careless, and showed that he did not understand the topic. The teacher answered politely, but the class barely noticed. His question did not make a strong impression. This contrast is very important. A careless or silly question can make people forget you. A smart, thoughtful question can make people remember you. Smart questions show respect. They show that you are listening and thinking. They make your words meaningful. The good news is that asking smart questions is a skill you can learn. Just like speaking clearly or listening well, you do not need to be an expert. You only need to be curious and prepared. There are simple formulas you can use to ask better questions. The first formula is, can you explain? This is helpful when you do not understand something. For example, in a meeting, you might say, can you explain how this project works step by step? This shows that you are interested in learning and that you are paying attention. The second formula is, what do you think about? This invites the other person to share their opinion. For example, what do you think about this idea for improving sales? It is a respectful and curious way to involve someone in a discussion. People like to be asked for their thoughts, and your question will show that you value their opinion. The third formula is, why do you believe this encourages deeper thinking? For example, why do you believe this strategy will succeed? It shows that you are not just listening passively. You are thinking critically. You are engaged. This type of question can impress teachers, colleagues, or friends. Here is a small story to show how these formulas work in real life. In a language club, a group of students was discussing ways to learn English faster. One student, Tom, asked, "What do you think about practicing English every day for 10 minutes?" The group stopped and thought. They discussed ideas. Tom's question helped everyone share their thoughts. Another student who asked, "Do we have to do this stuff?" got a short, unclear answer. People remembered Tom, not the other student. Asking smart questions also shows confidence. When you ask clearly, people see that you are not afraid to speak. You are not trying to show off, but you are showing curiosity. Curiosity is powerful. It draws attention. It builds connections. To practice asking smart questions, start with small conversations. When you talk with a friend, a teacher, or a coworker, Try to ask at least one thoughtful question. For example, if a friend talks about a movie, you can ask, "What part did you like the most?" Or, "Why did you like that character?" These simple questions make your conversation more interesting and show that you care. Another exercise is to listen carefully and prepare your questions in advance. If someone is giving a presentation, write down 1 or 2 points you do not understand or want to know more about, then ask your question after they finish. This will help you ask clearly and confidently. Remember, the goal is not to ask questions to show off or to confuse people. The goal is to show interest and understanding. A thoughtful question tells the listener, "I am paying attention. I value what you are saying. I want to learn more." This is more powerful than giving long answers without thinking. Think about real life. When someone asks a smart question in a meeting, teachers, bosses, and colleagues notice they respect you. They remember you. Asking questions can open doors. It can help you learn faster. It can make people enjoy talking to you. In every conversation, there is an opportunity to ask a smart question. You can ask about people's experiences, opinions, or ideas. You can ask to clarify, to explore, or to understand better. Every time you do, you show intelligence, curiosity, and respect. So start practicing today. Use the formulas. Can you explain? What do you think about why do you believe? Notice how people respond. Notice how your confidence grows. Asking smart questions is a small habit, but it can make a big difference in how people see you. Once you master this skill, your conversations will be richer, your relationship stronger, and your English speaking more natural. Asking smart questions is not about being perfect. It is about being curious, thoughtful, and respectful. Next, we will learn how to make your words unforgettable by telling stories that connect with people. Storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to impress others and speak smartly in English. Section 6. Use stories and examples. Have you ever listened to someone who only shares facts? They give numbers, dates, or instructions, but you quickly lose interest. Now think about someone else who tells a short story. Suddenly you are engaged. You remember their words. You feel their emotions. This is the power of storytelling. Using stories and examples makes your English speaking stronger, more memorable, and more impressive. Let me tell you a story to explain this. There was a student named Emma who had to give a short presentation in class. She prepared carefully, but she only wrote facts on her paper. The company sells products in 5 countries. Revenue increased by 10% last year. The marketing team works in 3 offices. She read these facts aloud to the class. Some students tried to listen, but many minds wandered. Her classmates remembered numbers, but not Emma. Now consider another student, James. He had the same topic to present. Instead of listing facts, he told a short story. Last year, our team worked on a project in 3 offices. I remember one day when we had a big problem with delivery. We stayed late, worked together, and finally solved it. That day taught me the importance of teamwork. Everyone in the class listened carefully. They laughed a little, felt the tension of the story, and remembered James. His facts were included, but hidden inside a story. His story made the lesson come alive. This contrast shows us an important lesson. Facts alone can be boring. Stories connect people. Stories make your words stick in memory. Stories help people feel your message. When you speak English, using small stories or examples will make you sound smarter and more interesting. You do not need long or perfect stories. Short personal examples work very well. For instance, you can start with phrases like, "Yesterday I learned," or "When I was a child," or "Last week, something interesting happened." These small stories show who you are and make your words more real. Let's see a few examples. Instead of saying, I like reading books, you can say, yesterday I finished a short story. I felt surprised by the ending. I will never forget it. Instead of saying exercise is important, you can say, when I was a child, I did not like running. But one day, I joined a small race with my friends. I finished it and felt proud. Since then, I try to run every week. These stories take 1 or 2 sentences, but make your English vivid and engaging. Here's another practical tip. Always connect your story to the main point you want to make. Do not tell a story just to fill time. Make it support your idea. For example, if you want to explain teamwork, share a moment when working together solved a problem. If you want to show learning, share a mistake you made and how you improved. Stories give context to your words. They help people understand you better. A simple exercise you can try is to take one life experience and turn it into a 30-second story. For example, think about yesterday or last week. Did something small happen that you can share? Maybe you helped someone learn something new or noticed something interesting. Then tell it using 3 steps. What happened, what you felt, and what you learned. For example, yesterday, I helped my neighbor carry groceries. I felt happy to help. I learned that small actions can make a big difference. Practice saying it aloud. Notice how your words feel more alive than just listing facts. Stories also help in conversations. If someone asks, "How was your weekend?" you can answer with a short story instead of one-word answers. For example, instead of saying, "It was good," say, "On Saturday, I went to the park. I saw a little dog chasing a ball. It made me laugh all afternoon." Suddenly, your simple English is more interesting and people will want to continue talking with you. Another important idea is contrast. When you tell a story, you often include contrast. A problem and a solution, fear and courage, or confusion and learning. This contrast makes your story emotional and easy to remember. For example, I was nervous about giving a speech, but after I started, I felt more confident and prouder. This short story shows growth and keeps listeners engaged. Even small stories can make presentations, emails, or casual conversations better. People like to hear experiences, not only facts. A story makes your words real. A story makes your message clear. A story makes you sound smart without using difficult words. Remember, using stories is a skill, not talent. You can practice daily. Every day, notice something interesting, funny, or important that happens. Think about how to tell it in 1 or 2 sentences. Practice aloud or even write it down. Slowly, you will become more comfortable sharing stories in English. So the next time you speak, do not only give facts. Think of one small story or example. Share it. Make people feel your words. Make your English alive. Make your message unforgettable. Once you learn to use stories, your conversations will be more engaging. Your presentations will be more powerful. And people will remember not just what you said, but how you made them feel. In the next section, we will discover how to use positive body language to match your words, making your English even more impressive and convincing. Section 7. Control your emotions. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone suddenly gets angry and starts shouting? It is uncomfortable. Even if they are right, people stop listening. They may feel afraid, frustrated, or annoyed. Now think about someone else in the same situation. This person stays calm, listens carefully, and speaks politely. Their words carry more power and people respect them. Speaking smartly is not only about what you say, it is also about controlling your emotions. Calmness is a key to being respected and persuasive. Let me tell you a story. In a team meeting, Two colleagues disagreed about a project. The first colleague, Mike, raised his voice, spoke quickly, and interrupted others. He wanted to prove he was right. At first, people listened because his tone was loud, but soon they became uncomfortable. Some avoided eye contact and others stopped contributing. Mike thought he was winning the argument, but in reality, he lost respect. On the other side was Anna. She had the same opinion, but behaved differently. When the discussion became heated, she took a deep breath, slowed her speech, and chose her words carefully. She made eye contact and spoke with a calm, steady voice. People listened. They nodded and considered her points. Even those who disagreed felt her opinion was valuable. By staying calm, Anna controlled the situation and impressed the team. This story shows an important truth. Loudness does not equal power. Anger and fast words often push people away. Calm, thoughtful words attract attention and respect. Smart speakers are calm, not loud. They do not need to shout to be heard. So how can you practice controlling your emotions when speaking English? The first tip is to breathe deeply. When you feel tension or anger, take 1 or 2 slow breaths before answering. Breathing slows your heart rate and clears your mind. It gives you time to think rather than react impulsively. The second tip is to slow down your speech. When you speak quickly, your words may sound rushed, nervous, or aggressive. Slowing down shows confidence and control. It also gives your listener time to understand and respect your point. The third tip is to lower your voice instead of raising it. Many people believe that raising their voice will make others listen. The opposite is true. A calm, lower voice makes people focus on your words. It signals that you are composed and sure of what you are saying. Fourth, pause before responding. If someone says something that upsets you, do not answer immediately. Take a moment to think. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve with my words? This pause allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. Fifth, practice. Responding, not reacting. Reacting happens automatically. It is often loud, fast, or aggressive. Responding is intentional. You choose your words, tone, and pace. Practice in daily conversations by noticing your first instinct. If you feel anger, take a breath, think, and then speak. Over time, responding will become natural. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine someone criticizes your idea in a meeting. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself loudly, but instead take a deep breath, smile slightly, and say, "Thank you for your feedback. I understand your point. Let me explain my idea more clearly." This calm response keeps the conversation constructive and earns respect. Another example is during a friendly argument. If a friend says something unfair, your first reaction may be frustration, but speaking calmly can change the outcome. I see why you feel that way. I have a different view, and here's why. Calm words prevent conflict and build trust. Even in English practice, emotions matter. Many learners feel nervous or frustrated when they cannot find the right word. If you panic and speak fast, your message may be confusing. Instead, take a moment, breathe, and choose simple words. Calm speakers are understood more clearly, even with simple English. You can also practice controlling emotions by role-playing. Ask a friend to pretend to disagree with you and practice responding calmly. Notice how your tone, speed, and words affect the outcome. Practice daily, and you will find that staying calm becomes easier even in real situations. Remember, controlling emotions is not about hiding feelings. It is about channeling them positively. Smart speakers feel emotions, but do not let anger, fear, or impatience control their words. Calm communication shows intelligent strength and maturity. In daily life, notice situations where people lose respect because they react emotionally. Notice people who earn respect because they remain calm. Learn from both. Use these observations to practice your calm voice, your steady pace, and your thoughtful responses. Finally, remember this: being calm does not mean being passive. You can still express your ideas strongly, disagree respectfully, and influence others. Calmness adds weight to your words. It makes your English sound confident, clear, and impressive. By practicing calm communication, you will speak smarter, connect better, and gain respect in conversations. Controlling your emotions is not easy at first, but every practice moment brings you closer to speaking English like a confident, smart, and respected person. In the next section, we will explore how to use body language to support your words, making your English communication even more powerful and memorable. Section 8. Practice with others. Speaking smartly is not something you can learn only by reading books or watching videos. It is a skill, and like any skill, it grows with practice. The more you speak, the better you become. But the key is not just speaking. It is practicing in the right way. Practicing with others, listening, responding, and learning from real conversations is what transforms your English from words into confidence and power. Let me tell you a story. There was a young learner named Sarah. She loved English, but she was very shy. She read books, watched videos, and memorized phrases every day. Yet she never spoke with anyone. Whenever someone asked her a question, she smiled nervously and stayed quiet. Over time, Sarah noticed something sad. She was not improving. Her English stayed in her head, but it did not come out naturally. She felt frustrated. Her fear of speaking kept her stuck, even though she studied hard. Now let's look at another learner, James. He was not perfect at English, and he made many mistakes, but he had a habit. Every day he found at least one conversation in English. Sometimes he joined a small English club at school. Sometimes he practiced with friends. Occasionally, he even talked to himself in front of a mirror, repeating phrases and practicing expressions. At first, it felt awkward. His sentences were short, and he made mistakes. But over weeks, something amazing happened. His words became smoother. He spoke more confidently. People began to notice his improvement. Through daily practice, James grew into a smart, confident speaker. This contrast shows a clear truth. Isolation prevents progress, but practice builds strength. You cannot become a confident speaker by staying silent. Real communication happens when you use English with other people, make mistakes, and learn from them. So how can you practice effectively with others? Here are several ideas that anyone can start today. First, join English clubs. Many schools' communities and online groups have clubs where people meet to speak English. These clubs are safe spaces to practice. You can ask questions, share stories, and listen to others. Over time, these small conversations build your confidence and expand your vocabulary naturally. Second, participate in language exchanges. If you can find a partner who wants to learn your language, you can exchange skills. For example, you can spend 10 minutes speaking in English, then 10 minutes in your language. This method gives you real conversation experience and helps you correct mistakes in a friendly, supportive environment. Third, role play with friends. You can create short scenarios, ordering at a cafe, asking for directions, or giving a short presentation. Take turns playing different roles. Role-playing is fun, and it prepares you for real-life conversations. You practice both speaking and listening, which makes your English feel natural. Fourth, talk to yourself in the mirror. This may feel strange at first, but it works. You can practice greetings, short stories, or even answers to common questions. Watch your expression, your posture, and your tone. Speaking aloud helps you find confidence and correct mistakes without pressure. Another simple tip is to find at least one daily conversation in English. It can be as short as 2 minutes. Talk to a classmate, a colleague, or even a family member who speaks English. The important thing is consistency. Small daily practice grows into large improvement over time. Let's imagine a small daily routine. In the morning, you greet a friend in English. Good morning. How are you today? At lunchtime, you describe what you ate. I had rice and vegetables. It was tasty. In the evening, you share one interesting thing you learned. Today, I learned a new word adventure. I like it. Each short conversation may feel small, but combined, they create huge progress. Many learners worry about mistakes. They think, what if I say something wrong? But remember James's story, mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake is a step forward. When you practice with others, you can correct errors, try new words, and build confidence faster than studying alone. The more you speak, the less fear you feel. Practicing with others also teaches emotional intelligence. You learn to read reactions, adjust your tone, and use polite expressions. Speaking smartly is not just about words. It is about understanding people, noticing what they feel, and responding in the right way. Practice gives you this awareness naturally. Another benefit is that conversations provide new ideas and vocabulary. You may hear words, expressions, or stories that you never learned in books. This exposure is priceless. It helps you speak more naturally, just like a native speaker, even if slowly at first. So make a plan. Choose at least one daily opportunity to speak English. Join a club, meet a partner roleplay, or talk to yourself. Set small goals. 3 sentences today, 5 sentences tomorrow, 1 story next week. Track your progress. Celebrate small successes. Over time, your confidence will grow, and your ability to speak smartly will become natural. Remember, smart speaking is a skill, not talent. It is built through effort, practice, and consistency. Isolation keeps your skills frozen. Daily conversations warm them up and allow your words to flow freely. By practicing with others, you will speak more confidently, think faster in English, and express yourself clearly. You will notice your growth, your courage, and your ability to impress others with smart, thoughtful words. In the next section, we will learn how to summarize your ideas clearly and leave a strong impression. A final step in mastering the art of speaking smartly. Section 9. Impress with politeness. Have you ever met someone who tries very hard to sound smart but ends up annoying everyone? They use big words, speak loudly, and try to show how much they know. Often people do not admire them. They feel uncomfortable or even frustrated. Now think about someone else. This person speaks politely, listens, and chooses kind words. They do not try to show off, yet people respect them, enjoy talking with them, and remember them. Politeness is a secret power. Being polite makes your words more impressive than using complicated language or trying to dominate a conversation. Let me tell you a story. In a classroom, 2 students were giving their opinions during a discussion. The first student, David, wanted to sound very smart. He used long, difficult words, interrupted others, and spoke quickly. He wanted everyone to see how intelligent he was. At first, some students were impressed, but soon they felt annoyed. His tone seemed arrogant, and people stopped listening carefully. By the end, David's message was mostly ignored. The second student, Sarah, spoke differently. She shared her thoughts calmly, used polite words, and acknowledged others. She said things like, "That's interesting, I see your point," and "Could you repeat that, please?" When she spoke, people listened, They smiled, nodded, and responded positively. Even though her English was simple, her words left a strong impression. People respected her because she was kind, thoughtful, and polite. This story shows a powerful lesson. Being polite is more impressive than showing off. Loud voices, complicated words, or trying to dominate a conversation rarely earn respect. Politeness communicates intelligence, confidence, and emotional maturity. It shows that you care about others and value their thoughts. So how can you use politeness to improve your English speaking? First, acknowledge others' opinions. When someone shares a thought, show that you heard and understood them. You can say, "I understand your point. That's a good idea." Or, "I see what you mean." These simple phrases make your conversation smoother and show respect. Second, use polite requests instead of commands. For example, instead of saying, "Repeat that," you can say, "Could you repeat that, please?" Instead of saying, "Give me the answer," you can say, "Could you explain that polite words create a friendly atmosphere and make people more willing to listen and respond?" Third, express gratitude. Words like, "Thank you, I appreciate it," or "That helps me a lot" may seem small, but they have a big impact. People remember those who are grateful. Gratitude also makes your conversations more positive and encourages others to engage with you. Fourth, use softening phrases. Sometimes you need to disagree or give a different opinion. You can do this politely by saying, "I see your point, but I think," or "That's interesting, and I also feel." Softening phrases prevent conflict and show that you respect others while expressing yourself. Fifth, listen actively. Politeness is not only about words, it is also about your actions. Nod, smile, and maintain eye contact. Show that you are interested in what the other person says. When people feel heard, they feel respected, and your polite words become even more effective. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine a conversation in a group project. One person is loud, interrupts, and tries to correct everyone. The team may feel frustrated and ignore their ideas. Another person speaks calmly, thanks others for their contributions, and says, "That's interesting. I think we could also try." Even with simple English, this person earns respect and encourages collaboration. Politeness also works in everyday life. When ordering food at a cafe, saying, "Could I have a coffee, please?" is better than just demanding coffee when asking for help. Saying, "I'm sorry to bother you. Could you help me, please?" makes people happy to assist. Politeness smooths every interaction, whether in English or any language. For English learners, practicing politeness has an added benefit. It slows down your speech. When you choose polite words carefully, you naturally pause, think, and speak more clearly. This makes your English sound calm, confident, and professional. People focus on your message, not your mistakes. Here's a practical exercise. In your next conversation, try using at least 3 polite phrases. You can use, "That's interesting. Could you repeat that, please?" And "I understand your point." Notice how people react. You will see smiles, nods, and positive responses. Over time, politeness will become a natural part of your speech. Another exercise is to practice polite disagreement. Take a simple topic like favorite food or movies. Express a different opinion using softening phrases. "I see your point, but I also like," or "That's interesting," and I feel practicing these phrases helps you speak clearly, confidently, and respectfully even when you disagree. Remember, politeness is a secret tool to impress. It works better than long words, loud voices, or trying to dominate. People admire those who are kind, respectful, and thoughtful. Politeness builds trust, encourages conversation, and leaves a lasting impression. In every conversation, you have a choice. You can show off and risk losing respect. Or you can be polite, calm, and thoughtful and earn admiration. Simple words like please, thank you, and I see your point have more power than complicated sentences. Use them wisely and you will notice the difference. By practicing politeness, you will not only improve your English speaking, but also connect better with people, gain respect, and leave a memorable impression wherever you go. In the next section, we will bring all the tips together and learn how to speak smartly every day, combining confidence, clarity, listening stories, calmness practice, and politeness to impress anyone. Section 10. Conclusion. Congratulations. You have reached the final part of our journey. By now, you have learned many powerful ways to speak smartly in English. Remember, speaking smartly is not about big words showing off or trying to dominate a conversation. It is about clarity, confidence, respect, and kindness. Let's quickly review the key steps that will help you impress anyone and communicate effectively. First, always think before you speak. Take a pause. Organize your thoughts and respond thoughtfully. Pausing may feel strange at first, but it shows strength, not weakness. Thoughtful speakers leave a strong impression because their words are clear and meaningful. Second, use simple words. Fancy or complicated words may confuse people. Clear, simple words make your message easier to understand and more powerful. Words like use instead of utilize or start instead of commence may be short, but they carry a strong impact. Third, speak with confidence. Your tone, body language, and energy matter more than perfect grammar. Stand tall, make eye contact, and speak slowly. Confident speakers are respected even if their English is not perfect. Fourth, listen more, speak better. Great speakers are great listeners. Pay attention to what people say. Repeat key words silently in your mind and respond thoughtfully. Listening first makes your words stronger and shows that you value others. Fifth, ask smart questions. A thoughtful question shows curiosity, intelligence, and respect. Phrases like, "Can you explain?" or "What do you think about?" allow you to learn, connect, and impress others. Smart questions are often more memorable than long answers. Sixth, use stories and examples. People remember stories more than facts. Share small personal experiences like yesterday I learned or when I was a child. Stories make your English vivid, engaging, and unforgettable. Practice turning one life experience into a short 30-second story. Seventh, control your emotions. Calm speakers are respected even in stressful situations. Take a breath, slow down, and lower your voice instead of raising it. Respond. Don't react. Anger or rushing can push people away, but calm words attract attention and respect. Eighth, practice with others. English speaking is a skill that grows with practice. Join clubs, meet friends for conversation role-play scenarios, or talk to yourself in the mirror. Daily practice builds confidence, fluency, and natural communication. Don't stay isolated. Every conversation is an opportunity to grow. Ninth, impress with politeness. Polite words like please, thank you, and I see your point carry more weight than long words or loud voices. Politeness shows respect and kindness. It encourages people to listen, respond positively, and remember you. Simple words can make a lasting impression. Let me share a story that brings all these steps together. There was a young learner named Hannah. She loved English but was extremely shy. In class, she rarely spoke. Her voice was soft, and she often worried about mistakes. Tutors and classmates hardly noticed her contributions, but Hannah was determined. She began practicing one step at a time. She paused before speaking, used simple words, and smiled politely. She started listening more, asking questions, and sharing small stories. She practiced daily with friends and even role-played conversations at home. Slowly, she noticed a change. Her voice became stronger, her words clearer, and her confidence grew. People began to listen when she spoke. Teachers and classmates admired her calm, polite, and thoughtful way of communicating. Hannah went from being quiet and nervous to a confident, smart speaker who could impress anyone. Not because she used fancy words, but because she spoke with clarity, confidence, and heart. Hannah's story shows you the truth. Anyone can transform their English speaking with consistent effort. You do not need to be naturally talented. You need practice, patience, and the right habits. You can start small, one conversation a day, one story, one question. Over time, these small steps will create a powerful change. Speaking smartly is more than language. It is about respect. Respect for others by listening and asking questions. It is about clarity, using simple words and clear stories so everyone understands you. It is about kindness, speaking politely and staying calm even under pressure. When you combine these qualities, you will naturally impress people, build connections, and earn respect regardless of your English level. Now, it is your turn. Start practicing these steps today. Take one tip and use it in your conversations. Try pausing before you speak or asking one smart question. Share a short story with a friend. Speak calmly, politely, and confidently. Each step you take brings you closer to becoming a smart, impressive speaker. If you want more guidance and practical tips, subscribe to Read and Learn English. On this channel, you will find more videos to improve your English, build confidence, and grow as a communicator. By following these lessons and practicing daily, you can see real progress in just a few weeks. Always remember, speaking smartly is not about perfection. It is about effort, heart, and respect. Every conversation is an opportunity to learn, connect, and leave a positive impression. You have the power to grow from shy and nervous into confident, intelligent, and respected. Your words can inspire, connect, and impress anyone. So take action today. Practice, listen, ask questions, tell stories. Stay calm and be polite. Step by step, day by day, your English will improve, and your ability to communicate smartly will grow. Believe in yourself. Respect others. Speak clearly and confidently. You can impress anyone by being your best self. Remember Hannah's journey? She started shy and uncertain, but through practice, patience, and politeness, she became a confident, smart speaker. You can do the same. Every conversation is a new opportunity to shine. Go forward with confidence. Use these tips. Practice daily. Speak with heart clarity and respect. Your English, your voice, and your personality can make a lasting impression on everyone you meet. You have everything you need to speak smartly and impress anyone. The journey starts now.